What's up, my guy?
Friday.
What's up? Percolating, trying to percolate, my guy. As you say. What's up, bro? You good?
Percolating like Walt Clyde would describe a Knicks game in '99 in a not empty Madison Square Garden. Hopefully, we get back to that very soon. Maybe this year, maybe not. Neither here nor there. I think we're going to go straight business as usual. We don't want to dick around. We want to tell people what to take, why to take it, and the logic behind it. You going to jump off first, or you want me to just go straight into the waves?
Hey, you riding, bro. I want you to take it off, bro. Take it off with the first one that you like, my guy.
All right, well, not coincidentally, I'm wearing the Knicks hat. I am a Knicks fan, answering my man from Vegas won. And, of course, I got the Knicks flag behind me. I mean, why wouldn't we? We got to triple down on the Knicks today. We're not taking the Knicks today on the ATS side because we were discussing this privately, and I saw somebody comment on that. So drink to that whenever I say we were discussing this privately. Cheers up, please, fears down. And when we come in here tonight, this is a Joe Public side to the max. When you see the Knicks here at a short number, -2.5, the public is salivating. Go to a bar, ask the most juvenile loser at the bar who they're taking. No shade to anybody that's taking the Knicks, but I know if I go to the local pub and I say, what's the most obvious side of the day? New York Knickerbockers. Short number, no Bradley Beal. It seems too easy. It probably is. I'm taking the over. And I think this is a really interesting position here. I think under the same narrative that the Knicks are going to potentially play down tonight, the Knicks play a very slow-down 90s defensive style of ball. They have a top 3 defensive rating in the league. And if they don't bring full effort, I think that speaks to more of a defensive letdown than anything. And, of course, when you look at the other side of this matchup, the Wizards do have the #1 pace in the entire league. The Wizards shoot a very inconsistent field goal percentage, but, again, we're going to see a lot of shots. And if the Knicks let down as we expect, it's going to be wide open. They're going to have space. They're going to have time. I think it's going to skyrocket. And when you really look at the Knicks' trends on the road, it's the polar opposite of this. They're actually 3-13 on the road against the over. But one of those overs did come at Golden State, who is not coincidentally top 3 in pace in the league. Jay, talk to him.
Exactly. Yeah. Now I'm looking at this game and I'm like, bro, the Knicks here. So we know that that Bradley Beal was announced out yesterday. We know that a lot of times when especially when they do it the day before, it gives a lot of people time to think about it. Oh, the Knicks here, they are coming off a couple losses. They played the Heat really tough. We are asking them to lay points here on the road. This is going to be a tricky game just because I've seen games like this. I've seen Westbrook kind of take over, turn back the clock. I know, like I say, no Beal's out there, their best player, but I'm not taking the Wizards. This is just one of them games, man, where I just feel like this possibly could be the fishiest game of the day. Obviously, the Knicks had a better team. They played better defense, but the Wizards had a better offense, man. So if it's a Wizards-type game, regardless, if just their pace alone, I'll be going with my guy there on the over. I could see it. I'd be looking at some Westbrook props here, my guys, because the only way that the Wizards could keep this one close is if Westbrook turns back the clock. He's probably going to have to go for it. I'll be looking at maybe Russell Westbrook triple-double tonight. He's going to get to 10 assists for sure because he's gonna get into drive into the hole, pass it out to those 3-point shooters. They're gonna have a V out there, Bertans, not Hachimura and Lynn, they're not shooters, but you're gonna have it V and Bertans, some really good 3-point shooters out there. Just be interesting to see how Westbrook approaches this game, man, because I've seen him take over games before. So just an intriguing game. I couldn't talk anybody out of taking the Knicks. I know it looks super easy. Just one I'm staying off. The Knicks are off a couple of losses. They got the better bench here. I'm off this one, man. But I'll be looking at maybe towards the over. This is a low total, as we know, for a Wizards game, and they don't really play a whole lot of defense. So just be interesting to see. This is a game, maybe possibly it is so much of a toss up to where you could really just live bet it, see what team comes out first. Maybe the Wizards come out on fire. Sometimes when the star player is out, guys, the team will step up for some strange reason. Like players off the bench, they'll come in. Hey, they trying to ball too, man. They NBA players too, so it's just not that simple to take the other team just because one player's out. You still got to look at everything in the game, my guy. So that's what he's saying there. The Knicks could come in here and cover this game, bro. What was you about to say?
another point here. Obviously the total is coming down versus Wizards totals, but it's coming up versus Knicks totals. And I draw you back to a road home sequence against Chicago about a week and a half ago. Chicago has the second pace in the league. Chicago is very similar to Washington, similar field goal percentage, similar pace. Those numbers were 213 and 214. So if you can kind of cross-reference the Bulls and the Wizards with a similar playing style, the numbers coming up 5 points from that. So it shows movement for the Knicks against a similar opponent type. And one last comment on this. The only other game that Bradley Beal did not play this year, Washington did cover against Miami 128-124 in a filthy backdoor 38-25 fourth quarter. And they went way over. 128-124. I think they went over by 25 points. Russell Westbrook did not play that game. This is the first game they've played this year with just Russ and the guys. However, I think the guys, if you want to call them, my man Brian, a bunch of the dogs, they want to get up and down. They want to run. They want to shoot. I think it's going to be a track meet tonight.
Exactly. So let's see who they got next. So look, this is the first game of a back-to-back for the Knicks. They got the Rockets tomorrow at home. So I mean, let's see. They this could be just a little look. I just don't like this spot for them, man. They could come out flat tonight. The guy saying Knicks spread. I'm not talking anybody else spread. Knicks. I'm just saying it looks. It's not that it looks too easy. It's just, I mean, that line is super short for a reason, man. I'm staying off of it. I can still see. What we're saying is the Wizards. You don't just take a team just because one player is out. And a lot of teams, the star player being out, their team will step up. It's just one. I don't like this one. It's like they still got Westbrook, and he could come to take over for this. Don't be surprised that one. So you might, if you like Knicks, you might even could catch them at a plus price. You know what I'm saying? If you have that ability to take the live spread on these games, my guy, it's gonna be But we just letting you know, because I've seen this time and time again. Oh, Beal out. They just said, oh, it's gonna be easy. Go and smash it, load up on the Knicks. Sometimes it is, but it's just not there. More times than not, it's not, bro. But one guy in the chat was asking me, what do you think? He wanted me to ask you, what do you think about the Knicks getting Derrick Rose out there?
I think more than anything, I made the comment on Twitter. I think more than anything, we never really looked at D Rose coming out of Memphis 2008, whatever it was, off that brutal loss in the finals to Mario Chalmers. However, we never really looked at him as a leader. An eloquent speaker, a boisterous guy like a Draymond to jack him up, or even really a cerebral spoken guy in the locker room, that would really get in their minds. However, I think at this point in his career, he's grown a hell of a lot emotionally, and I think he's a really mature guy. I think they brought him in not only to ball, but I think to really coach these young guys. So I think if we're going to see anything from that, we're going to see just quickly Barrett, a couple of the other young guys really grow as professionals with D Rose in the squad. I really like the move for the Knicks here.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, he came in. I didn't think he was going to play that quick and that much for the Heat. He came in and did a damn good job. He had like 14 points. He was dropping dimes out there. He looked good. He came to play. He had a renewed energy as well. We know playing for Pistons. Then he coming to play for his old coach Tibbs. Hey, come on, let's play. So come in to play here. I can't tell you guys, man. I was like, hey, man, I think you know what I'm saying. Obviously, the Bill has been their best player by far. It'll be real interesting to see how they come out. The Wizards. Would they come out with fire, or they could come out super flat? It's entirely possible. I mean, Bill is their leader by far on offense, so it is possible they could come out flat without their guy. We know they're resting him up. He was getting pretty frustrated over there. The team, the manager almost felt like maybe he could be detrimental out there. So like give him a day of rest or whatever, and let the rest of the guys play. So my thing, Westbrook, see what he brings tonight. If he's trash tonight, Westbrook's breaking red didn't come to play, but I can't tell you guys. I know a lot of people not really a fan of him, but when he comes to play, guy can go out for a 30-40 point triple double, man. It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's up to him, man. Knicks can play some stifling defense. We're gonna see. That's a real good game, bro. I'm definitely looking towards that one. I'm gonna be making a live bet on that one, my guy. Because if I like the Knicks, I might get them at a better price than landed points. Like I say, you know what I'm saying? But let's get to the next game, bro. You like the Pistons? Let's talk about this Pistons versus Celtics. A little write-in game. We cashed with the Celtics yesterday. Now they have a little maybe a flat spot here versus the Pistons here. What you liking in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I said this yesterday. When we really zoom out, we look at the whole league. When teams play each other 1, 2, 3, or 4 times, it's really interesting to figure out which teams will revenge and where you'll see a totally opposite style game. which you do see frequently. The Celtics don't do this. And they did it last night again. And a lot of people wanted to take the revenge spot in the Raptors, and we said no. They're going to play the same game. What did they do? They beat them by 12 on the road. They beat them by 14 at home. It doesn't get any more similar than that. And when you really go to the other matchups, they've gotten the same prototype against Philly twice. They've gotten the same prototype against Indy twice. And they played 2 games in Detroit, both without Kemba Walker. Kemba's out tonight, not coincidentally, to cap this game. It makes it easier, similar type of roster. And the number was the same on the road. And we talk about this every day. When you lay 8 points on the road and you lay 8.5 points on the road and you come home, you should be laying 10.5, 11 points. The number is short. It speaks to a revenge matchup for the Pistons. Both games in Detroit were 3 points and 2 points against the money line. I think you're going to see a tight game, and I think Detroit just matches up very well against them. And I think when you really look at what Boston did last night, they really showed out. It was a highly inspiring matchup. And if you go back 6 or 7 games, Boston has played 6 or 7 straight inspiring opponents dating back to the West Coast trip. This is a real letdown spot for them emotionally tonight. And, of course, you do catch Detroit here off of a really pathetic effort last night. And if you go through Detroit's schedule, they tend to play worse on the front end of a back-to-back. Maybe they're saving energy. I'm not really sure what it is. They play better on the second leg of a back-to-back. It's all Boston.
Yeah, I was just about to say that they 4-0 ATS, 4-0 against the spread the past 4 on a back-to-back. They was 0 days rest. So I was just about to say that in this spot, for some reason, they've seemed to play well, like they saved their energy or know how to conserve, you know what I'm saying? But they made a run yesterday and a half, but the second half, the pace just took it to them. They wanted their game more. And like you say, sometimes, so the Celtics coming back off that long road trip, usually that's a flat spot. No, they had to get up. They were off 2 straight losses off that West Coast road trip or whatever. Now you come back to the house, you face the Raptors, who you're just better than. They always going to have that rivalry with the Raptors, always going to want to beat them, just a better team. They got it done there. Now this is the let down spot on back-to-back without Kemba Walker. I know you got Pritchard out there. He's nice. But now that he started, now that's taking your production off the bench as well. So, I mean, and no Robert Williams still. So no Plumlee for Detroit tonight. No Doumbaya. I mean, Plumlee was their starting center. He didn't play in the last game. He little elbow. It was crazy with that when they announced it out right before the game, but it was cool. But yeah, no Plumlee tonight, but still they still match up well with the Celtics tonight. Tristan Thompson really seemed like he hadn't all the way gelled with the Celtics over there yet, so it's a little flat spot for him. And I mean, the Celtics get the win, he's still covered with the Pistons, so it's a really nice spot with the Pistons there, my guy, getting 8 points. Like you say, they played them close both times in Detroit. Now you got them at the house over here. Line opened up at 8.5, only came down to 7.5 with the Kemba Walker news. Just 1 point back up to 7. People still liking the Celtics. We like the Pistons, my guys. We like the Pistons. What you want to talk about now? Let's talk about this Cavs game.
Let's save that one because I think that's your play of the day here. Did I lose the feed on you, Jay, there? Is he frozen in the chat? Is the shark in his element by himself? I don't know if I'm here by myself. Oh, there's Jay. You there, bro?
No, I see you, my guy. Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened real quick. We cool.
Oh, we're good. We're good, baby. Yahoo! Anyway, I think let's save that one because that's your play of the day. We'll go into that maybe like 5-10 minutes. There's a couple games on the board that I think have a lot of intrigue that we are not playing. I think there's a lot of merged dynamics, and I think a lot of things that could be said for either side. One of them that I want to discuss is obviously the premier matchup of the entire night, Milwaukee Bucks at Utah Jazz. I want to take the Jazz here, and I think that's potentially an unpopular opinion. I think people really like to buy the Bucks here. I think people are looking at the Bucks off a loss. I think sharper minds, as people get sharper in capping, as they listen to us, as it gets legalized, as there's more exposure points within gambling, the revenge matchup is not always just an autopilot take. And I was saying to Jay off the record, so everybody needs to drink again. When the Jazz beat down the Bucks in Milwaukee was actually laying, I believe, 5.5 points there. Mm-hmm. And this is a huge line jump. Milwaukee, again, assuming 2.5 to 3 home to away, this is 7 or 8. It's showing significant strength to Utah. And another point on that is that Utah has cleaned up consistently not only have they cleaned up consistently, they've beaten down really shitty teams, and then they've also just shellacked good teams. I don't know what it is. They have found something emotionally in this locker room where they're just on an absolute revenge-style tour against everybody. And I don't necessarily see Giannis and the boys coming in here to Utah at altitude. There are some fans. I don't see that necessarily translating to a revenge spot. And I think Utah could actually really take care of business here tonight.
Yeah, that Utah and Bucks spot, man. That's one I can't tell you the way the run that they're on. I'm definitely not betting against them, bro. The Bucks, they play the Jazz play as a team, man. That's why what I'm saying. That's why their inefficiencies from early in the season have all they don't have any now. They're clicking on all cylinders. They play as a team. They always going to have one or two starters on the floor. Their coach really nice. They obviously have the home field advantage, if you will, home court advantage. I mean, like I say, the Bucks, in theory, have matched up well with them. But I mean, in past, but this is a different year for them. They got a different squad. They still without Drew Holiday. Well, he's questionable to come in this game. That could mess with the line as well. Literally, that's an injury that will impact the line. If he end up playing, it'll probably go down to, I'd probably say back down to 1.5 or something. Maybe close Jazz -1, but it doesn't mean that the Jazz won't get it done here at the house. There's no way in hell I'm stepping from the Jazz here. Literally, it's just I could. And honestly though, I do think this is a toss-up game because look, Shark, we know that last game, Giannis. So this is the thing that I don't like is Giannis and Chris Middleton. They don't really play as a team as a whole yet. I mean, they may get there later in the season, may 5 more games, but just right now they're not in that form. They are coming off that loss in Phoenix. Giannis, I'm sure he's heard about it. The closing possession, Devin Booker giving them shade and all that. So I'm sure he hears that. He's pissed off, motivated. It's just can you defend the 3-point line against this Jazz team? Can you defend the three? You have to stay locked in the whole game. You can't have any lapses against this team because they're going on a 10-0 run and they're going to build off of that. So you have to really come in there and smack them and get up by 20 and make sure you're up by 10 game. So that's what you're going to have to see for the Bucks in order for you to cover this game. If not, if it's a close game, the Jazz probably pull this one out at the end, man. So this is really a tough game for me. I could see the Bucks getting it done. I could see Jazz keeping it rolling. I'm standing off this one, my guy.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm looking at the chat. I agree with most people. I think there's a strong narrative for either side of the game. And this kind of out of the box, but this brings me to when you're trying to bet the NBA Finals. When you're betting the NBA Finals, even late in the playoffs, Eastern Conference Finals, it's some of the toughest capping you'll ever find. You're finding the two of the best teams on super sharp lines, short lines, well-adjusted lines with peak motivation on both sides. This is incredibly difficult to cap. I'm only making the comment that still in this small window, and we were saying this off the record, everybody drink again, there are two effective seasons here where we have 30-something games, and then we have a break, and then we readjust the calendar a little bit, and then we have effectively a second season. We're going to see a lot of movement in the second season, given the way the standings are now. They're very clustered. A lot of teams within one game of each other, 5 through 12, even deeper than that. And certain teams like Miami, Orlando, injured teams, COVID teams that are going to move up, and we're going to have incredible value after the break on those teams. However, that being said, in the present moment, the Jazz have just found an absolute niche. They're in this element that is really hard to find in the NBA. When you see these streaks, I know Miami, I think it was 2014, the second year, or the third year, they ran off like a 20-game streak.
Yeah, 22.
Right. Obviously, the Dubs did it that one year. When Luke Walton was coaching them, they were running like a 90% win rate straight up. When NBA teams find this, it's rare, but it's usually teams that are disrespected and have not won a title yet, but are on their way to a title. If you look at when the Bulls did it, it was a second go-round, but it's always got to be a fuck you element, right? Jazz lost in the bubble, and you could feel it. It was just percolating. Something was going on with this group. They were just ready to pop, and it's happened. And, obviously the public is annihilating the books, taking the Jazz. The Jazz are covering almost every game. But, again, I just don't think the Bucks travel necessarily well here, and I just think the emotional element, even though they did lose at home to the Jazz, does not stand above the Jazz revenge tour within this 30-game window that we're in right now. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and in theory, I mean, so the Jazz have covered the last three versus the Bucks. They won the last game in Milwaukee, so it's I guess in theory it's a revenge spot for the Bucks. But I mean, that's not. I would definitely would be. So look, I know we talk about the lines a lot, and you
Yeah.
know how the Jazz have been, and we know Drew Holiday last night was expected to be out of this game, and yet line opens up at -1.5 for Jazz. Don't you? What do you think about that? Because in my opinion, I think that was just like it was. It was like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I know it's the Bucks and you have to, but that was a lot of respect for the Bucks for the bookmakers, in my opinion, in this game.
I think this is a number for the Jazz. I think this is a strong number for the Jazz. I think when you go back and you look at the previous matchup in Milwaukee, what was the number? It was like Milwaukee was laying like 4.5, 5, something like that.
Let me see. I have to look at it.
I think it was like 4.5, 5. So again, this is just a large scale comment, but it does apply. Again, books don't change their strategy just because we're in some quarantine bubble here.
Right.
It should be 3 points. So theoretically, if this is the same exact environment, you lay 5 at home, you go in here, you should at least sticking on at least -1, -1.5 Milwaukee. And when Utah wins on the road, comes back and is still favored, where again the theoretical motivation should be on the Bucks. This is still speaking to the Jazz at this number.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, I wouldn't if it was them, I'd put Jazz at -5 because they still gonna. If I was the Bucks and I want Bucks money, I'm putting Jazz at -5 because guess what? They still gonna make it. The people still gonna take it regardless. They take it as Jazz pretty much blindly. I mean, just think about it. If someone's covered for you 16 out of 11 last 17 times, you have money like you can afford one loss. Like you're gonna take them every single time until they don't cover. Like literally.
Although a key point here in terms of just statistical distribution, at some point, at some point, a trend becomes a norm.
Yeah.
And what people get sort of conflated in and they get confused in this whole idea of the regression. And oh my God, they've lost 10 in a row. If you've lost 15 in a row, that is the sustainable average is the loss. They're not moving to another average here. And if they won, that would actually be the outlier. So you're not trying to bet for outliers. You're trying to bet when a team is moving towards a more normalized average. And I just don't see it here. I think the norm is flat out just ownership in this matchup.
Yeah, and the Jazz have been ownership of everybody right now. So it didn't matter who comes in there on the road without Mike Conley, any of that, man. It's just there's no way that I'm not betting. There's two things that I'm sorry. I do have a couple of rules right now. I'm not betting against the Jazz, and I'm not betting on the Mavericks. It's just two things that I'm sorry. I know we can cap against all this, but those are two things that I absolutely will not do right now. It's just I'm gonna leave it at that, brother. But yeah, Jazz are nothing for me. I might sprinkle some on Jazz, my guy.
So does that mean
they saying Drew Holiday out for sure?
Does that mean you are taking the Pelicans tonight?
That means I'm taking the Pelicans. I do believe I'm sprinkling +3 on the Pelicans tonight. I know that they're coming off that loss versus Bulls. They were super hot before that. +3. I know that's giving. I know the books are starting to grade the Mavs right way, but the Pelicans, they always play the Mavs. So I know his team. When last year we had a better team, Pelicans had a worse team. And guess what? They always seem to play them, even when they had Gentry as the coach, as I'm referring to from last year. +3. I could see the Pelicans coming there and beating us tonight. Yeah, we don't have any. We're soft down low. I mean, we don't have any killer instinct. If the Mavs are up 5 with a minute to go, I don't trust them to cover the game. They're just Luka still is not in shape. He still looks fat. He's not. They're not locked. I don't know what's up with them.
Let me ask you a question. I've been watching the Mavs. They've been on national TV a handful of times recently. I despise what they're doing with Porzingis. And I don't know if it's Porzingis just being gun shy off an injury and maybe a little bit emotionally disconnected since he was the guy in New York and now he's the second fiddle. I just hate the fact that he's sitting on the perimeter shooting 35-foot threes by default, and he just is so scared of physicality. What do you think about that?
Bro, I mean, it's not even that. So, and he be so look. He makes the threes. Like he can make a high cluster of them. That's why he keeps taking them. But you're right. It comes down to coaching. We saw this versus the Warriors. You have the clear size advantage. Yet he's out. I mean, if any game, if he wasn't supposed to be taking the threes, there was that game. Just get down there in the hole. I mean, if you're gonna get on the ball, if you don't even want to post up, get as close as you can to the rim. We're gonna pass you the ball, go right up. Like I even mentioned, put Boban in. In my opinion, that was a coaching error. I mean, and we kind of look at it sometimes. I mean, they open my eyes that the Mavs just not the same team. They're really missing Silas, the head coach is for the Rockets. He was like the offensive coordinator for the Mavs. They're really missing him, man. I mean, whatever they got going now, it's not it. They maybe need to give him a call back or something, man. Try to double up his pay or something. But they really miss him. We're a lot better team last year. We were not ready to go. They were not motivated. Like I say, another thing. Coming out of halftime, if you could have a 10-point lead at the half and they come out the third quarter not into it, that's another sign of bad coaching, not being able to motivate your players or not being able to stay locked in even if you have the lead. So it shouldn't be like that. They don't look themselves right now. Yeah, the Pelicans are a much stronger team than them in my opinion. Yeah, I'd like the Pelicans push the 3.
Yeah,
have to.
No, I mean I agree. I mean, and you as you said it against the Warriors, they melted twice. And then at the Atlanta game, same thing. They couldn't cover. They're on the number at 4. Of course, Trey hits a deep 3. They win by 1. Don't cover. Anyway, let's move on. You want to make a couple comments about the Grizzlies game out there at Staples tonight?
Yeah, what's up with that line? I want to look at what that line was. So they've been pretty much favored by 12 here by OKC, and I'm just looking at how just from that alone why this line. I mean, it's not closer to 9-10. I know that they were kind of seeing what was up with AB with AD. You know what I'm saying with Anthony Davis. So I don't know, bro. I don't. What are you taking? You like the over in this one, right?
I liked the over, but I needed a number. When I look at the number in Memphis, of course, Memphis, grindhouse, old school ball, it doesn't exist anymore. Memphis likes to run, totally different scheme. But they didn't have Ja in that game. They were really depleted roster-wise, and the number was still at 220. And I look at what Memphis has done in the recent history here with Ja coming back and without some of their bigs. They've been scoring the ball at a very efficient rate, and they paced up. And, of course, the line comes down to 218. I made the comment to you last night. This needed to be an open at the minimum 223 for me to take it. And the fact it's coming down, I think this is going to hover. I think you're going to see a game right around 216 to 221 in the hover zone. It's just a total no play. That being said, I do think this is extremely hard to pick a side because a full squad Lakers team laid 10 points in Memphis without Ja. Ja obviously is their best player. He runs the show, whatever. They open up here at 7.5. I mean, this is what we said last night. There was a 10 coming back to 7. This is just a well-averaged line. There's just not a lot of transparency. The Lakers are trending toward a loss. They've been really lackluster for 3 or 4 games. But the other side of it is, have they been so lackluster where now they actually decide to show up on a Friday night? I just don't know.
Yeah, the thing with me is I like the Grizzlies in this spot. They have way too many injuries. This is one where they just have a few too many. Like I told you, I mean, the Brandon Clark and Milton, they were already missing them. That was already bad enough. They played a good game the last game. Now and Bain started, their young rookie, their 3-and-D guy from TCU. Now he's out. So I mean, they just get even thinner. You got another squad coming into LA here with damn near just 8 or 9 guys. It just is the whole thing with Lakers is it is really tough to cap because we know that they are a really good team, but they just really take their foot off the gas sometimes and not locked in. Even the second best defensive team can give up 75 points through pretty much two in the third quarters to an OKC team with no guards, without SGA. I mean, that was just really surprising for me to see Diallo and Horford run the point guard versus this Lakers team, man, and just do whatever they want. Lakers just weren't locked in. So it's just sometimes we can see it, man. They just come out there, get a 1-point win. They're cool with this. So the Grizzlies never give up. They play super hard. They only lost by 2, like you say, without Ja Morant. That was at the house. But I think you're going to get there all tonight, man. If it was me taking a side, I would be looking towards the Lakers to keep, you know what I'm saying, being lethargic out here at the house, just barely getting a win. If they do that tonight, they might drop this game, bro. They might, because we know the Grizzlies, they play so super hard on offense and defense, man. And the Lakers rim protection hasn't been there without Anthony Davis. You got to drive right to the hole, man. Get straight to the hole, build them fouls up, my guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go to the game of this ain't the game of the day, but it's one that I like. It's one that I was just like, I mean, even the line here is good God. I mean, 4.5 for the Blazers here. I mean, they're down to 3.5. Come on now, man. It looks like a super small number, man. I saw people saying, they smacking the Blazers. It's gonna be easy win. Just like you talk about law averages here, Shark. What you think here? The Cavs, they've lost 5 straight. What you think here? I mean, they've been on the downside.
I think the initial point to cap this game starts with the Blazers. You look at the Blazers; they're coming off of back-to-back covers against the Magic and the Sixers. They're on a 3rd and 4 home back-to-back of a really tight, high-scoring, entertaining national game last night. It's the ultimate letdown spot. Cleveland is uninspiring roster-wise. Their jerseys look like shit. I mean, how uninspiring can this team be? All that being said, you can actually cross-reference this with a couple matchups at home. Portland has been very lackluster against the East at home. I can't obviously correlate Cleveland to Indiana, but Portland did win back-to-back games and then catch Indiana at home in the same spot in the 3rd and 4 home back-to-back scenario, and they got blown out, 111-87. They were lifeless. And they also did lay down at home to the Chicago Bulls. And I think the Chicago Bulls are similarly weighted by Vegas to the Cavs. And as you said, the Cavs just got slaughtered at Denver. Shout out to the odds fellow for the trifecta there. Denver, first quarter, first half, and game, absolute blowout. That was a great spot.
That was a nice call.
And again, we always say the key to capping the NBA and most sports in general is finding the consistency to the inconsistency. And when you find that a team that just got blown out by 38 points and barely even played, first of all, they're going to be insulted. Second of all, there's a natural buy low effect numerically. And third of all, they're going to be rested. When you get beat by 38 points, you didn't give any fucking energy in that game. So you're going to have a really juiced up group here, and you're going to catch Portland fatigue emotionally and physically in this spot.
And you're going to have a super motivated team. I mean, we know when there's not really a lot of fans in there, so it's not the same NBA year. I want to go with the more motivated team. I want to go with the team that just got their ass handed to them by 38 points. We know you're talking about, we could never let this happen again. You shouldn't have let it happen once, but we know it's the Cavs. I mean, they got a young team. It happens sometimes. And this is one, bro, where I can almost say this. It's not so much on the Cavs. The Nuggets were off 3 straight losses. They were pissed. They were finna take it out on somebody. You see what I'm saying? The Cavs just happened to catch them boys at the wrong time, and they didn't match up well against them. And they were They were down 17 to the end of the first quarter in high altitude. I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, we're gonna save it up for the next game. So, but the thing, and looking at it matchup wise, how I'm looking at this one, Colin Sexton versus Dame Lillard. We know Dame Lillard pick and roll, shooting the threes, but it's going to take Colin Sexton one of his best nights. He's going to have to take it to him offensively and defensively tonight. We're going to need him to match up well with him. I think that they do. You got Garland out there. You got a couple of rim stoppers in Jared Allen and Andre Drummond out there that's going to help as well. They got the bigs that can overpower. They can win the rebounding battle out here. They can exploit the weakness for the Blazers. So they got to guard the 3-point line. Sexton, I'm going to need you to stay with Dame. But yes, Cavs here plus the 4.5, plus the 3.5. I like it. I agree with the move. I mean, just look at it. 71% of the public on it, and then move down the whole point. Everything agrees with it. Cavs, sharp side for sure. I like the Cavs here. We was talking about this one. Blazers win last night. If they get the job done there, which they did. Huge emotional game, back and forth the whole game. It was like a playoff atmosphere, man. Now tonight, just the last game is a little 3-game road trip before you head out on the road. A little sleepy spot. Cavs coming ready to play off a 38-point blowout loss. Yeah, like the more motivated team. Let down spot for the Blazers. All that, everything. What you always say. The numbers are there. The narratives are there. Let's cash it, my guy.
Numbers and narratives. You gotta have both. You gotta have both. Because, particularly in the NBA, the NBA is an incredibly emotional sport. 82 games normally, 72 this year. There's just so many black holes in the schedule, and you got to get in the minds of these guys, understand what city are they in, how many games have they played in a small window, who's the opponent, is there any sort of peripheral motivation, what is going on? And then, of course, the Vegas number always matters because they're not giving free handouts on any of these numbers. You have to figure out where it's moving and why it's moving in that direction.
Somebody called Rory. Hey, sorry, Rory in the chat is a girl. Somebody called her my guy. She's like, I'm a girl, my guy. That was crazy, man. But yeah, the Cavs, we need them. They're a better team than this, man. Not gonna say too much else about it, but yeah, they're all 5 straight losses, whatever. They've off on 0-8 ATS. So and the 0-8 ATS team opened up at 4.5 down to 3.5. So I know it looks easy with the Blazers, man. It could be, but we're riding with the Cavs here plus the home dog. Hopefully they show some fight. Really, what you think here? Just one more note on this game. I was thinking that the first, it's already took the full game, but plus the 3.5. What are you thinking? I'm thinking that the way that we're looking at the game, if they're coming out motivated and it's a flat spot for Portland, we have to like the first half for the Cavs as well, right?
I don't have a comment on that because I looked at the Cavs a couple games. I didn't go through every one of their road matchups, but I looked at the Phoenix game in particular, which we had correctly at plus 7.5. They're very inconsistent quarter to quarter, and it's not predictable. Where like a good team, you can rely on the starters and they cover the first quarter like every time, and then the second unit comes in, tanks the first 4.5 minutes in the second quarter, and then they backdoor when the starters come back in. Like the Cavs groups are all over the place. They don't really even have a defined starting five. They kind of merge two groups together. It's all over the place. So with the Cavs in particular, I prefer to extrapolate and go to the fullest possible window, which of course is the full 48.
Exactly. Hey, that's the one I need, man. I'm on it. It's just I can't say the way that I'm looking at it. I hope that they don't. Let's just say I'm hoping that they come out with energy and focus from the get go. Like from like in all seriousness. I mean the Blazers are the better team. I mean the starting five. Like the Cavs have the bench advantage, but as far as starting five, like if they don't guard the 3-point line, I don't want things to get out of hand because I don't want them. I don't see this as like them coming back in the fourth quarter. So the way I'm looking at, I'm hoping that they like come out in the first half, take care of business, and like keep it going. They need to come out here and smack the Blazers in the mouth, like literally, and they can do it. They can do it if they come out motivated out there. You don't want to. People don't. Nobody likes. I'm a basketball player. I get my ass smacked by 40. I'm thinking about it until I get back on the floor. I'm ready. I'm just how we did us. I'm ready to go smack somebody else by 40, man. So that's you know what I'm saying. That's what I like, my guy.
Another thing with Portland on the other side of this, they're very inconsistent quarter to quarter too. Last night we had the Sixers first half and got very fortunate to push that. I got to give a hell of a lot of credit to Joel Embiid for this bank shot.
At the buzzer.
That shot did not look it was going in. I'm telling you, I don't know how the glass got that angle. I thought that was off by at least 4 inches. But anyway, we'll take that push after getting backdoor the previous night, that ridiculous Lakers total in overtime. But, it always comes back to the mean. But anyway, the Portland Trail Blazers are very inconsistent quarter to quarter. I thought they would come out flat last game because they had just come out well against Orlando. And they came out, and they outplayed Philly in the first half to the max. I just don't know. I mean, they've been sustainably all over the grid at home, first half, second half. I don't know. It's one of those games where, again, I want the full 48 just as a more reliable point.
Got you. Hey, break them off with your official bet. You ready to get out here, my guy? I know somebody was asking about that. No, we already talked about that. How it's what's called.
Let's talk about one more game because I know you wanted to talk about it, and I like this game pending a couple roster moves. Magic at Kings. Kings are currently minus 8.5.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah, I know so they are getting one of their man. It's crazy. So it's so crazy game, man, because the Magic barely had any guys. They barely had any guys last night. They was down to 8 guys. Frank Mason, they're guarding them going down. So that's a total of 5 point guards that was out. They do get MCW back tonight. I know Fournier was questionable. I did feel like I say Frank Mason went out. They played really hard last night. They covered versus the Warriors. They still start to really run out of gas there in the fourth quarter there. So they really need some of those guys. They haven't looked good. I know they're not going to look this terrible forever though. I mean, the Magic, they played their heart out. They still play really good defense. This is a revenge spot as well. We know versus the Kings, you got to stop Fox. If you can stop Fox, I think that's like the key to the recipe. What do you think here? And it's up to 9 now. Oh my God, what are you liking in this one?
Yeah, I mean, when I look at the number, I really like that 8.5, because I was looking at the number in Orlando. Orlando actually laid 1 point here. So, again, we talk about this home-away revenge splits. This should be 3-4, not 8, or even shorter. Really, you can make an argument Sacramento should be about 2.5, 3 here. And this is showing a hell of a lot of strength. You rarely see this in the NBA. You see this a lot more in college basketball, where a team will lose on the road, come back, and the line jumps 11 points. And I think it speaks to just really inconsistent groupings. And in college basketball, you see that a lot more. Of course, unrefined mid-major kids do not get up consistently at all. And I think that's what you're seeing from Orlando here. Orlando is totally depleted, number one. And I made the comment off the record, I don't really like their group. I just think emotionally they got a lot of different personalities. They have different age groups. They have a lot of foreign guys. They have some domestic guys. I don't think Clifford is really a leader of men. I think he's a very mediocre professional coach. And I think they've gotten lucky. And I think there were a couple of guys like DJ Augustine and a couple dudes that are very underrated locker room guys that got them into the playoffs and had them steal a couple games against the Raptors the last couple seasons. But I really think this group is just going nowhere. Obviously, if Fultz comes back, AG comes back, a couple other guys, they will improve immensely. But I just don't like the mental makeup of this group as a group of 12 to 15 guys coming together. And I think Sacramento is on a continued upward movement, and fading the Magic off a representative game last night at at Golden State is a really nice buy on the Kings here tonight. Continue to move upward.
Exactly, man. I really wanted to get on this one too. When it was at 6.5 this morning. I know people that got 6.5, then went up to 9. They got to 8.5. Yeah, Kings, man. They, like I said, it's all those. So they do get MCW back. They just waiting on Cole Anthony and Fournier. MCW hadn't played in a while. Michael Carter Williams. Yeah. So I mean, it's not going to look nice for. And Kings off their first. They're off their first loss after covering and winning 7 out of 8 and covering 8 straight games.
Is what's his name? Is Aminu going to be in there tonight?
Aminu, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because I think that there's another element there too. When a guy hasn't played all year, I believe, it just helps their flow. It's not like, oh, they got a good player back. It's actually the opposite. They got a good player back, but this is going to take a few games to really integrate this guy into some sort of flow. I think that could play in the other direction. It could play towards the Kings if he plays.
Look, Rory, I believe it's Rory say it's a girl. She say she's a girl. Rory says she got -6.5. But yeah, no, Aminu, he came back one of those games, ended up playing like 5 minutes, and he injured. He re-aggravated one of his injury. So he's been out. He's still questionable. But it looks like another smash spot for the Kings, man. I missed out on it. Like I say, if it's Smack City, then it won't matter. It won't matter. It's just it went up 2 points to 8.5. Might look at it. If those guards out again, man, and if just MCW is the only one that came back, that line's going to go back up. And I mean, they were already tied yesterday. They didn't have any offense. Vucic ran out of gas. What you laughing at, my guy?
I'm laughing at this. The chat debate about Rory's.
Yeah. She said, I am a girl, my guy.
I am a guy, my girl. Let's go. Balance it.
Yeah, no, the Magic got a laundry list of injuries, man. Magic, in theory, should probably, like I say, even if they do keep it close in the first half and be pissed for the last one, for their last loss, in the second half, man, it's going to get ugly for them. The way that the Kings like to run up and down and hit those threes, the way Hill and Fox and Hill did them last time, man, it got ugly. Yeah, bro.
I think I'm going to talk about one or two of the other games for a split second. Somebody want to touch on if the world will allow me to speak it on a beautiful free Friday afternoon. Cheers, everybody. Happy hour, hell of a week. Anyways,
Friday.
Spurs, Hawks. I think this is a really tough game. Hawks laying 2. Obviously, when you look at this number off the bat, Hawks have a worse record. They have a worse home record. Spurs have a good away record. Hawks are off a cluster of losses. I think they're 1-4 last 5 or something like that. Theoretically, this would be a nice buy on the Hawks. I would lean Hawks. I'm not playing it. I'm not really a huge fan of fading the Spurs off a blowout loss at home to the Dubs. I think they might come in here. And again, the Hawks are one of those teams where you're just at the mercy of inconsistent motivation and a very inconsistent shooting percentage from the field on a nightly basis.
Yeah, they're shooting. I mean, that's the NBA, man. It's all about shooting. It's all about the shooting. Now, yeah, it's a true toss-up. The way I was looking at it, I know the Hawks, they just seem to match up well with the Spurs here of late. I mean, Rondo is out today in this particular game, but in past games, a much worse Hawks team has fared well versus the Spurs. For some reason, they just match up well with them. Like I say, they got Capella out there who he should have a field day, in my opinion. It's a big center matchup here. They are shopping Collins like largely. They're really trying to get Collins, so we don't know where his head is. He could be trying to show up, trying to go up to a different team, trying to show out, or he could be trying to scale back a little bit, trying not to get injured. So it's a different. You don't know which way to look at them. But the past couple of times the Hawks have played them, they're 3-0 ATS the past 3 versus the Spurs, and the last couple they beat them outright as 5.5 dogs and 8.5 dogs. So the Hawks seem to they fare well versus the Spurs. They're coming off their loss as well versus the Mavs. A really good game, I might add. They damn near won that game. I'm sure they may be mad as well. So I'd be looking at the Hawks here at the house. I didn't take it, but yeah, that's definitely where I would lean in this one. You and I were talking about this one. It'd be Hawks for me. They're -2, my guys.
Yeah. If I had to, I just don't like it enough, and I do think there's one element which you just said. They've beaten them and they've covered it as a dog in this matchup, and oftentimes when it flips to the favorite, they don't function as well against the number, and it's just an emotional thing. It's also a numerical thing. It's adjusted better, where books now are saying they are 2 points better. You got to remember the line is an expected long-term average. So they're telling you that if this game was run 100 times in Atlanta tonight, they average out to a 2-point win over 100 or indefinite theoretical matchups. So it's just adjusted now for Atlanta to win the game. And that's where you get a problematic spot, because then you kind of get the buyback effect on the Spurs coming up in the matchup and having essentially the advantage on the live number here. So it could flip from that standpoint. And, of course, that makes it just a really difficult take on either side.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. And the Spurs have been road warriors. They're 8-1 ATS the last 9 games as underdog, as a road underdog. So they play well in this spot, man. But yeah,
one more thing. I believe this is the first road game for the Spurs at the East this year.
I know it's the first game of this 7-game rodeo road trip. I do know that for sure. It's the first game of this 7-game rodeo.
I'm pretty sure they haven't played any games at the East this year. And if they have, they've only played one. So
I always like to pay attention to that too when it's East versus West, because those those games just don't mean as much to them as a West versus West game or East versus East game. So it would just be interesting to see. It's a true toss-up game, but you mentioned something there with the Hawks here. Man, now maybe they're favored by 2. Maybe it's a little bit too much, too rich for them. So what other game did you want to say something about, my guy?
Only other one we wanted to touch on, I think, interesting spot, Hornets laying 3.5 to the Wolves. You were making the comment that you thought the Wolves were a nice buy here. I agreed on the number, but again, I thought it was a similar element to what we just said about the Hawks, where you're getting Towns back in here, and ultimately at 3.5, Hornets have been way too hot. Wolves did just cover against the Clippers. They played a really representative game. And you have to ask yourself, it was sort of like when the Grizzlies covered the first 2 off the COVID break and then they lost 4 in a row. Is Towns going to come back and integrate, and are they going to run off like an 8 straight ATS winning clip? Probably not. Oftentimes it's just an initial bump and then they fall off the grid. Of course, Charlotte is a really short number. Charlotte is definitely a public side take here tonight, but it's just really difficult. I don't really know.
Yeah, what I can tell you is that, so I know sometimes that the starting player the best player on the team can come back and kind of mess things up. The Timberwolves, so they have been covering spreads, but they still haven't been winning. The Timberwolves are a team, and Karl Anthony Towns is a player that they need him. It's not one of those, it's one of those that he come back and no, they need him. It's actually one of those where they play really good that first half versus the Clippers. I thought the Clippers going to come out hot. In the second half, Clippers really took it to him, so it was one of those where they kind of faded out in the second half. Karl Anthony Towns, I'm saying, it was up in the air if he was going to play in that game. He got a game under his belt. They lost that one. I think they're coming to get this win tonight, man. The Karl Anthony Towns, one of those type of players where his usage is so high for the team. It means so much to them offensively and defensively. It can only help them with their play. You've been watching them play, man. Not a big fan of Okogie. He's really been falling off. Anthony Edwards is really starting to come into form. Malik Beasley is really starting to play We know that he has some off the court issues going on, but whatever it is that's gotten a spark on Malik Beasley, I just watched this guy score 25 points in the fourth quarter. No lies, Todd. I mean, he was the guy that just took the money for the Clippers the other day, man. Could have got a tie on the -9 for the full game, but no. Beasley said, I want all the points right now. I'm scoring every single time. I don't know what's gotten into him. What is he smoking on, gassing up? They are missing Russell still, but they got Rubio, not too much to drop off. They got a couple of players missing for the Hornets tonight. Not huge, but they got the Martin twins that won't be out there tonight. They still got a bench, though. It's still up in the air if Graham's going to come back. He could possibly come back, but they got Monk and Bridges coming off the bench beyond both. So they still got a nice bench. It's still going to be a really good game. But like I say, the Timberwolves, in my opinion, they do match up with them. It match up really nice with the Hornets. If you just look at the matchups, like I say, they are flying. They are coming over there to Charlotte, man. But it's just going to be an intriguing game. I don't think it's going to be that easy as that Hornets think it will be.
I'm not going to play it, but I do think if I had to lean, I might take Charlotte first half, because I think we talk about this all the time. Oftentimes what happened in the previous game quickly reverses itself. They came out with a lot of energy against the Clippers at home. This is the polar opposite game. Out of conference game against a young, uninspiring opponent in a really small market. Charlotte, no disrespect, you're not fucking Manhattan, baby. And when you come across in here, and Charlotte comes in off a loss, and they did not cover the first half at Memphis either, and then they got blown out in the second half. It's definitely potentially a merge buy and fade element here, where I think you could see the Wolves come out flat on the road after that fairly demoralizing melt loss. It's a little bit hard to like re-energize yourself, particularly in this environment. Catching a young, scrappy, fast, reasonably intelligent Charlotte team here off a loss, I probably would lean, if I had to put anything on the record, Charlotte first half.
Got you. Yeah, Nate. Hey, the Charlotte, it opened up at the 4. It's come down to half 3 there. So just be interesting. They are coming off a loss as well, almost blowout loss versus the Grizzlies there. So just be interested to see if the Timberwolves, if they're pretty much tired of losing, only won 2 of their last 10 games. They've lost 3 in a row. They came back to the house, had a nice, good effort versus the Clippers, and then just fell apart. It was more of the Clippers just like clamping down on defense, really showing that they are the better team. But it was really surprising for me to even see the Timberwolves and have that good of a first half versus the Clippers. So Timberwolves, I like the Timberwolves on that full game on that one, my guys. I would. I'm gonna sprinkle a little something on the Timberwolves plus the 3.5 on that one. But yeah, you want to break them off with your official plays? Ready to get out of here, or anything else?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I think we touched on it. Obviously, a big board. It's hard to pick, almost every game in these spots. It's much easier to look at 3 or 4 games. So we try to hone in on the best spots. And for me, that's over 219. Knicks traveling to Wizards. Detroit +8 in the third matchup of the year in Boston. And a little bit later, the third one is the J Money is Money special. Cleveland +3.5, fading the Blazers in a very nice letdown spot off of 2 big wins, coming back tonight against the Cleveland Cavaliers and their disgusting uniforms.
You still there? My bad. It kind of went out again. I know what you're saying. What you say? You said Cavs. What spot in the what? What you say?
Cavs +3.5.
Catching mute, bro.
In the ultimate
mute, man. We cool though, bro. We cool. I know he's saying the Cavs. We on the Cavs. Can y'all still hear us? The damn sound went out, man. Can y'all still hear me or what? We on the Cavs, bro. We on the Cavs, my God. Lit down spot for the Blazers. I don't know. Something happened with my shit too, man.
Are we back in there? Can you hear me now?
Shark, you there, my guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck, I can't hear you. Oh, he said he can hear both of us. He said he can hear both of us, man. So maybe it's me. Maybe it's my shit.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, let's sign off.
NBA
Payday.
He can hear both of us, bro. Let him know what you're on. So yeah, he let him know what you're on. We finna get out of here, bro. Yeah, I like the Cavs. I'm on the Cavs plus the 3.5, man. That's the play I'm on today. Let's cash it, my guys. He said he could hear both of us, but we finna get out of here. I can hear you now, Shark. I can hear you now. But we finna get out of here, man. I appreciate y'all for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel, man. It saved my name, but I'm gonna change it, man. It's gonna be both of our channels. We're gonna be doing the shows together. Y'all know what we doing. Jay going deaf. No, my damn earpods, man. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what the hell happened, man. Maybe I've been going live too long today or something, man. I'm finna chill out, man. I'm finna chill out. But yeah, we on 3 different. We on Twitter, we on Facebook, and we on YouTube, bro. So it's all maybe we just doing too many numbers right now. But y'all hit the like button wherever you at, man. Y'all hit the like button wherever you at. Go to the YouTube channel specifically. Go to the YouTube channel, man, and hit the like button. Y'all subscribe to the channel. I appreciate y'all, man. Go and follow us both on Twitter. That's our Twitter handles right there at Sharkin Sports, at J Money is Money. Appreciate everybody for watching, man. We gone.